Welcome into another edition of the Mortgage Impact Podcast. My name is Jen Bates, the Communications Manager for Movement Mortgage, and we're continuing our series On Deck with Barry Habib today. So again, this is something we do for our LOs and our sales field inside our private Facebook group every other week. Barry is gracious to come on there and provide so much value to our team, and we want to be able to share that with you guys as well. So coincidentally, this episode was about adding value. How do you do that? How do you add value for your customers, your borrowers, beyond just getting them the loan? We're talking about refinances. We're talking about having to perhaps bid above value when you're in a hot contest for a house, a bidding war for a house, which is what we're seeing more and more of these days. So hope you enjoy this. Make sure you share it. And you can find us on YouTube as well. Check out Movement TV, and you can share all of our podcasts from there and videos as well. Enjoy.
How is everyone doing? This is Jake Failing, Vice President of Marketing for Movement Mortgage, and we are back with another live episode with Barry Habib, and we have another guest with us today, Adam O'Daniel. You know Adam from all of our market updates and pretty much everything else that we do. So we try to keep these, if you were here a couple weeks ago, we try to keep these short, 15 minutes. But as you know, Barry packs so much into these. We just want to jump right in. So today is about bringing value. Now, what does that mean? We're not going to keep it just high level. We're going to give specifics. And so, Adam, right now, you see my long sleeves. It's cold weather. Season's changing. Right now, it's good. Things are good. I think you just said people are reading their own press clippings, but should they be doing that?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's what we were talking about with Barry as we were preparing for this call, kind of the text messages back and forth that came up of, hey, the money is kind of easy right now in terms of the loans coming in your pipeline. But Barry, you have been down this road before. You know how quickly the seasons change. And I think the question for our loan officers today is, what should I be doing right now so that I can add value later when things are not so easy, when I can't just roll out of bed and close a bunch of loans? Where do I add value? And I think that the number one thing that came to my mind were those three letters, AVM, and that tool that is so valuable.
Yeah, it is valuable. And thanks a lot. Appreciate you, Jake, Adam, Jen. I appreciate you guys so much. And hey, Movement family, how are you? Hope you guys are doing good. So first of all, we do have to add value. And you're right, Adam. Yeah, this is, it's got a few miles on me here. So I've been through this a little bit before. I originated just like you. I'm one of you guys. I originated for over 20 years. And, I've had times like this. We have this huge tailwind. So the one thing I can be pretty sure in telling you that it won't always be like this. Now, we don't know how much things will change, but don't believe your own press clippings here. A little bit of humility, a little bit of understanding that you've got an enormous tailwind behind you, and it's easy to be great in this marketplace. But where the real test comes is when there is a headwind, and that's going to be something that changes in rate. Look, last time I talked to you, I said rates were going to go up a little bit, and they have, right? You've seen that. So I'm going to give you some markers to look at. And the ways to create value are several. So you did mention the AVM. Everybody wants to know the value of their own home, right? So in MBS Highway, we created it. We call it the MB estimate. It's yours. Just go ahead and use it as much as you want and generate reports and co-brand reports and do all that stuff. What's coming is you're going to be able to add it to your website. You're going to be able to co-brand it, add it to your realtor's website. So you just mark your territory and say, keep out. I've got this relationship. But here's the thing that you have to remember is that when you're doing this, you really position yourself as the resource. And that's where you always want to be. You always want to be in that role as the authority, the resource, and the leader in your marketplace. In addition to that, why not go after media resources, right? Look, media is free. That's what I used to do when I was originating. I said, well, you know what? I could put an ad out there, and an ad, somebody's going to say, well, what are you not going to say? You're not, everybody's going to say, I'm great in an ad, right? But if you're someone that the media is going to, because you have this information, people read that or look at that or watch that and they say, wow, what a trusted resource. I started it with local papers, this and that. Before you know it, have my own show on CNBC. And whether you do it locally, by the way, local, you're going to get much more business from that. It's nice to have a national presence, but local, you will get a lot more views and a lot more business that comes of it. And if you're in a position now, you're watching, you say, man, I wish I were getting the business. Everybody's talking about it being so busy. How come it's not that way for me right now? use tools like Social Studio. It means you just have to get the word out there, create a following, but not just, hey, how are you? I'm Barry, things are good, whatever. You have to create content. And just, Jake, as you started this off, and Adam, as you were saying, create value. What's the value? Well, Fed says rate's going to be 0 to 2023. What does that mean for mortgages? If you go back to 2014, Fed was at 0, but mortgage rates went up 1.125% from 3.5 to 4 5/8. At the same time, the Fed stayed at 0. So could that happen right now? So we want to advise customers in several different ways. That AVM, that's an enormous benefit because everybody wants to know the value of your home. Plus, you keep them off of what's called pixelation. Now, you guys know what being pixeled is, but being pixeled is the same thing that happened to you when you went shopping for a car, for shoes, for household supplies, whatever you went shopping for. You went on different sites, you went shopping, then you go on your Facebook, your Instagram, whatever you do, and you see, wait a minute. How'd they know I was interested in this? Well, that's because you've been pixeled. And if you go to Zillow for your Zestimate, same data, except that Zillow pixelates you. And now that customer gets bombarded with ads from your competition. And your realtor's customer has the same issues. So keep them off that. Make them go to your site, drive your traffic.
I just lived this. Like you're explaining my life as a consumer earlier this year, right? So like, Jake, I know you went through a refi. We all have, right? But you know, I knew I wanted to do something with my house. I saw the rates going down. I'll admit, I looked up the Zestimate. Okay, I did. But then I also talked to my movement loan officer who ran the tool. His number came back way better than what I found online, actually. And here's the great news. The appraisal came in even higher than that. So it was still a conservative, accurate estimate. I was able to do more than I thought. And now, like, you know, Ed's my guy. I love how he walked me through that process. And you're right. It delivered value to me as a consumer. Another strategy. So that was a refi. I was staying put, loved the house. Another strategy for those who are buying in this market is that, I mean, we see these prices. You talked about it last time, Barry, about supply and demand. Home prices are going up. Yet there's this strategy where a loan officer can add value by walking you through a bid over the asking price strategy. Unpack that for us.
So Adam, another great point that you bring up, and you're so right. So there's a couple of things you could do here. So one is the cost of waiting tool, where somebody says, well, I can't find a house right now. And, you know, maybe I'll sit on the sidelines for 6 months, I'll come back. Well, it's going to get worse in 6 months. Okay. So that bid over ask tool for the first time will quantify, the cost of waiting tool will quantify for them for the first time. If I waited 6 months, how much am I going to lose in appreciation and amortization? So I said, wow, it's going to be $14,000. Maybe I'll go out and look again, sacrifice another weekend or two to see if I can find that home. But the point you bring up is that 56% of homes right now are in a bidding war, literally in a bidding war. Or what about if your realtor's client wants to come to you to help that customer, but you're going up against the cash offer? Now, cash offer, what's the difference? Cash is certain. A mortgage has some potential that the thing doesn't go through or gets delayed. So therefore, the seller will typically accept a little bit less if the offer is cash. So you can still get the deal. It's just a question of how much higher are you willing to go. Now, look, hey, man, I grew up in New York City, man. I don't want to pay full price for anything, right? So paying more than asking price, forget that, right? Except if it makes sense.
Yeah,
and what I try and do is make it make sense for them. So if you,
and that's the thing, right? You have to overcome that for the consumer, because I'm from Florida, man, other end of the country down there in the South. But I was the same way when I bought my first house. The realtor said, "Hey, we got to come back with a higher offer," and I said, "Whoa, are you kidding me? I'm not." They need to come down to me. And so you've got to help the consumer understand the dynamics that are going on and how it's still good for them long term to pay a little bit more. What's a few $1,000s right now over the long term?
And Adam, if you can exactly quantify that by saying, look, we know what the appreciation forecast is in your zip code, in your market. So therefore, even though you're going $10,000, $12,000 over asking price now, let's be able to, for the first time, there's never been a tool like this in the history of mortgage or real estate. So you will be the first one on your block that has this incredible tool that will say, okay, so listen, you're bidding, instead of 400, you're bidding 418 or 412 or whatever it is. But by February of 2021 or March of 2021, the value of your home will exceed what you're bidding today. So if you put a contract in today, you're going to close in December. Your first mortgage payment's in February. So by the time you make your first mortgage payment, your home value is already more than what you paid for it. By the time you make your first payment, hey, that's a deal I could get my arms around, especially if I wait. Home prices are going to continue to go up, and I'm going to miss out on a home that I really like, that I could see myself moving into. So you have all that on your side. You've got the emotion on your side. All these things work in your favor. Just give the realtor the tool to be able to justify it to the customer. And this works like a magic trick. And once you give it to one realtor and none of your competition has it, you own that realtor. because you're helping them do more transactions. And listen, team, that's the other thing you have to do is you've got this huge tailwind of refinances. And I know refinances, you got to do them too. Of course, you want to make money. Plus you want to service past customers. It's good. But you got to do the purchase side. You can't forget about that. And you got to market on the purchase side because you have to do both well. This is not a time to say, I'll do this or I'll do that. You know what? You got to be better. You've got to raise your game. You got to bring it, and you got to take the level that you're operating on and just raise that. No excuses, no bullshit. What you got to do is you just got to raise your game. You have to be better. That means you got to learn every day. You got to push yourself every day. You got to be the best version of yourself. And that means that you got to put the work in, and thank God you do, because nobody else will do it. And that's what makes you great. You see, that's the great thing about sales, is that it's fair. The great thing about sales is that you get out what you put in. If you've got the heart to do it, if you've got the desire to do it, and you're willing to make the commitment to do it, this is where you shine. Now, everybody's raking in bucks right now, but when the tide goes out, those that are putting in the work today, those that are going to be willing to put in the work tomorrow, those are the ones that are going to continue to succeed and not be a one-hit wonder.
Jake, sign me up, man. Where do I sign up? I want that job. That sounds awesome. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, Barry, we're almost out of time, but I've got one more, and then I think Jake wants to chime in. He's got a question as well. If we can turn the table a little bit, you just wrapped up talking about the importance of serving both refi and purchase, how we can bring value to realtors as loan officers and as mortgage professionals. Talk to me like I'm a real estate agent, though. Like, help me see that script. Like, flip the script a little bit. If you're going to talk to a real estate agent about how a local, dedicated, expert loan officer at Movement Mortgage, how they add more value than just the transaction, right?
Adam, listen, I know that right now.
I'm not just punching numbers in. Like,
no, I got you. And by the way, there's a different script, and we'll go over this on a refi too, because there's things that I want you to be talking to your refi candidates at. And first of all, be selective, okay? Purchase like an arranged marriage. You got to kind of go through it and hope they're good looking and hope you fall in love, right? But but on a refinance, you could be pretty selective, and you have to get your refi candidates to be willing to be responsive, but also you have to take a great application. Now, if it's a purchase, you're my realtor. Hey, Adam, so here's the thing. At Movement Mortgage, what we really want to try and do is help you win that transaction. We know inventory is very tight. We're really, really up on what's happening in the market, especially the local market. But what most people don't realize is that we're going to show that customer not what the home is worth today, but what the home is going to be worth in the future. We've got the tools to show them that if they sit on the sidelines, how much they're going to miss. We've got the tools to show them what their home value is going to be worth in the future. And more importantly, in order to be competitive today, if we've got to come in over asking or go up against that cash offer, I don't want you to lose the transaction. So we're really equipped to show the customer the opportunity that exists in housing in the future and justify the fact that they've got to come up a little bit. And we'll be willing to share all those with you. We'll be willing to give you the tools in your hand and co-brand it with you so that it looks like it's coming from you. And on top of that, you know what we're going to do? We're going to give you your own access to an AVM so you don't lose people who've gone to Zillow, get a Zestimate, because everybody's curious about it. And then what happens? Then they get marketed and you lose that transaction to another realtor or to a iBuyer platform. Look, we've got your back here at Movement Mortgage, and that's why I want to be working with you, because all the realtors that we service are ones that realize the benefit in having that market knowledge and that market intelligence. And by the way, you take this information and you become the media rock star. We want to help you do that. We're here to support your business going forward.
Jake,
I think you literally blew Adam away, Barry. He's speechless 2 times in a row. I got to learn how you do that. We had 2 minutes left. Real quick. I mean, this was about bringing value. I think if I stood up in front of our loan officers and talked about, hey, when it comes to marketing, you've got to bring value, I would get booed off the stage if I just left it at that, because there's a million people out there that talk about bringing value. So I try to get into the specifics, right? Give tactical ways that they can do that. Today, we talked a lot about MBS Highway. We talked a lot about, specific tools. But what I heard more than anything, Barry, was you saying bringing value is going that extra step, like going outside of your comfort zone, whether it's finding one tool, finding one strategy, and really leaning in there, because bringing value now is table stakes. Like, what is the one thing that's going to make you stand out? Am I hearing you correctly?
Yeah, you're 100% right. So, a lot of people have gotten lazy in our industry because it's so easy right now that they don't feel they have to bring value. They're taking orders, and that's fine for right now to create a level of income, but you're cheating yourself and you're cheating your customers because you're not advising them correctly. You're not helping that realtor properly. So what we I think what we have to focus on right now is that bringing value to the realtor is being able to help them by being their coach and helping them in the marketplace, helping them with social media by using tools like Social Studio, things of that nature. That why not do a co-branded one with your realtor and do something like that? My daughter, Nicole, who's in the business, she does that with her realtors. They get these thousands of hits and it starts blowing up for both of them. So these are things that I think you could do. Hey, what about the stuff that you guys are doing? Why not get this knowledge and then interview your realtors on a Zoom call? Put it on Facebook Live. Do right now what Jen is doing, what Ryan does so amazingly well, what Jake and Adam are doing. Why don't you do that? Why don't you be the authority? Why don't you be the one? Build your brand and add value that way by giving so many insights that are available today. I mean, stay on the cutting edge. And I believe that people will follow you. I really think that there's such a void of that today. There's so many people taking orders and not that many people changing lives for the better.
Yeah, so social media works, right? Is that what I'm
God,
okay.
Yeah.
There's the headline, right? No, so Barry, that's a heck of a way to close. Barry Habib, thank you so much for joining us again. For Adam O'Daniel, I'm Jake Failing. Tune in next time when we've got Barry on Dropping Knowledge.